only ever met a few people that were in prison for child abuse, and every single one of them caught the business. But let's talk about one of the worst ones that I ever met, and when I think about it a decade and a half later, my blood still boils. Y'all ever heard of a baby shaker? Let me explain to you what a baby shaker is. A baby shaker is someone who can't stand the child crying, so they shake it, and unfortunately, this infant did not make it. And not that it does a single thing for the life of that poor lost child, but this baby shaker, he didn't make it neither. This dude got stuck. He got beat with a pillowcase full of bars of soap. He got boot moshed with work boots so bad it looked like his face just came right out of a blender. This dude was so terrified to come out of his cell, go down to the chow hall and eat, that he looked emaciated. He begged to go to PC and the cop laughed at him and called him a baby shaker. Last time that this dude actually got his bell rung, it wasn't nearly as violent of an attack as all of the rest of them. He got one good clean swipe to the face. He fell back, he hit his head just right on the wall, and he did not make it. Just think about that and keep your hands off women and children.
It's just that I know what I did was, it's not okay.
Right. Yep. We appreciate that, and it wasn't okay. But let me tell you this. Stop referring to it as a slip up, because it wasn't a slip up. That's a poor choice of words.
I'm sorry.
I would just say I made a poor decision.
And I did make a poor decision.
Exactly. And that's taking ownership of it. And that's what we need to hear. Not I slipped up.
You think you know what fear is? Wait until you're locked in a cage with men who've got nothing left to lose and daughters they'll never see again. Wait until you realize the guards aren't there to protect you. They're there to make sure nobody finds out what really happened to you. You're not a human being anymore. You're a walking target with a countdown timer. Every breath you take is borrowed time, because everyone from the guards to the lifers just got handed your death warrant on a silver platter. Why? Because that paperwork is screaming you're a Ch0m0 now. You thought those uniforms were your guardian angels. But here's the irony that'll haunt your every heartbeat. The moment your shadow darkens that threshold, those guards don't see a prisoner. They see a gift-trapped present from hell itself, still breathing but already dead. Picture this. Your file kisses that steel desk like a love letter from the devil. Every twisted violation you carved into that innocent soul, every stolen dream, every murdered trust, every childhood you fed to your hunger, reading poetry across the page. And the guard reading it, his little girl still believes. Monsters only live under beds. They don't just leak your secrets. They auction your soul to the highest bidder, and everyone's got deep pockets. Listen carefully. In this concrete cathedral of consequences, there are predators and there are offerings. Murderers earn their thrones through fear. Drug dealers purchase kingdoms with connections. But child destroyers, you magnificent, doomed creature, you just became everyone's answered prayer, wrapped in flesh. Here's what those angels you shattered never learned in Sunday school. Outside these walls, secrets whisper and die. Inside, when they recite your crimes, they're not sharing gossip. They're reading scripture from the gospel of justice. While your pulse still drums, a former keeper of keys whispered this confession like he was sharing state secrets. We'd make certain every lifer knew which parasites devoured children. These men who'll never again hear daddy, read me a story, never again chase away nightmares, never again promise everything will be okay. We'd deliver your file like communion wine. Then we'd take a long, peaceful walk while the screaming composed symphonies on the walls. Savor that revelation. The people drawing paychecks to preserve your worthless existence are the same. One's painting bullseyes on your spine with invisible ink. They'll accidentally misplace your paperwork where wolves gather to feast. They'll forget to lock the gates between you and paradise lost. They'll ensure your roommate is someone whose child shared the same precious age as your victim. But this betrayal, you exquisite waste of oxygen, this is merely the opening prayer in your cathedral of suffering. What I'm about to describe will make your darkest fantasies seem like children's bedtime stories. But for you, destroyer of innocence, this becomes your daily communion until the earth reclaims you. Remember those lifers, those fathers whose children you reminded them they'll never hold again. They don't hunger for your death. Death is mercy. And mercy was buried 6 feet under the day you chose to feast on innocence. They crave for you to taste what those babies tasted. Helplessness, terror, the complete annihilation of safety. They study you like scholars, study ancient texts. They memorize your sacred rituals. Shower at 6:47 a.m. Tuesdays and Fridays. Always the third confessional from the left. Your communion habits, apple never orange, back to the wall. Eyes cataloging every entrance like you're expecting salvation. Your moments of false sanctuary, those precious 10 minutes before. Darkness falls when you actually stop your beautiful trembling. They map every fear, every weakness, every tell, like cartographers charting the geography of your doomed up. Then they architect traps that would make Lucifer himself applaud. They can preserve your awareness while they deconstruct your existence, piece by screaming piece. Here's testimony from someone.
Anybody and everybody would come together to torture these motherfuckers. And a lot of people will say, well, what the fuck, don't they go to PC? Think about it. You look at the news and you see this shit, right? You say, if I could just be 5 minutes alone with this motherfucker, right? Well, in prison every day, you have that opportunity. The only difference is you will get away with it. And nobody cares. There is no pity for them because they're cowards. Look who they go after as victims. People that they know they can completely manipulate, hurt, without even having to put up a fight. So then they come to prison and they act like, oh, they're bullying me. And they learn a treacherous fate because we see that shit and we feel the same way you do, except we can make it happen. Sometimes families call it in, favors from inmates or favors from COs or somebody that knows somebody, you know, and it makes it happen. But most of the time, it's someone like myself who sees one of them, or a CO steps to someone like me and lets it known that, look, the cell door is gonna be open. Y'all rush him, y'all 15 minutes. Or you'll just be in your cell and you'll see a CO walking one to the shower and just throw him off the top tier, laying right on his head. And they write it up as a natural cause, a seizure. And everybody's saying, I don't know, I didn't see shit, because nobody cares. You hurt children and women like that, bro, it's game over. And that's not even like the beginning of it. You know, no matter where you go, however you eat, it wouldn't matter if you had outside staff making your food for you. They're gonna put rocks in there and glass and just constantly shit and just all types of nasty raw meat, just the worst of the worst. So every day, you're scared to even eat your bologna sandwich. In canteen, I mean, it's getting taken from you. You're not allowed to have that. So it forces them to have to eat the state trays that they know have shit and piss and jizz and glass and just all types of shit. And they can't scream for help because the corrections officers are the ones that most likely are going to be the ones that put you in the blind spot. It's a rage that is just in all of us. When you hurt an innocent child like that and you finally are able to get your hands on one, I've seen it to where dudes have 6 days left and they're willing to catch a life sentence. Just, it's not like that they're emotionally dumb or this and that. It's that when you see that type of evil and you can finally do something about it, you snap.
Here's the most exquisite paradox in your personal purgatory. The only thing preserving your breath is the identical thing consuming your sanity. Like communion wine, allow me to paint your new chapel. Child destroyer, a concrete confessional, 8 by 10 feet, smaller than the closet where you likely genuflected to your twisted prayers. 23 hours every day, zero human communion, no conversation, no shared existence. Just you, 4 walls, a metal altar, and the crushing revelation that stepping outside guarantees instant martyrdom. But here's what destroys minds faster than any physical sermon. Humans weren't architected for total excommunication. We're pack animals, social creatures, beings who need communion. After weeks alone, your brain literally begins consuming itself like a snake eating its own tail. You'll deliver sermons to shadows like beloved congregation, perceive faces of your victims in concrete patterns like religious visions. Forget what voices sound like except the screaming that plays eternal mass in your skull. The divine mathematics of your existence. Step outside, achieve martyrdom in minutes, remain inside, descend into beautiful madness by degrees. A prison psychiatrist whispered this confession, like sharing the location of the Holy Grail. Child destroyers would literally prostrate themselves, weeping, begging us to release them into general population. They knew Ch0m0, they'd be sacrificed instantly, but the isolation was driving them so completely insane they preferred certain martyrdom to another second alone with their guilt and the choir of their victims singing in their heads. Contemplate that divine comedy. You'd rather face men who want to slowly baptize you in agony than spend another moment with the memory of what you authored against that innocent angel. And it's not merely loneliness consuming. You like holy fire, that's its perpetual terror. Every sound could herald the approach of your final communion. Every footstep could belong to your appointed angel of death. Every time a guard approaches, you wonder if today's the day they forget to secure your confessional and walk away humming hymns. You cannot sleep, because nightmares are vacation compared to consciousness. You cannot eat because your stomach remains permanently knotted with divine fear. You cannot exercise because you need every ounce of strength. For the final service that's definitely approaching, you exist in beautiful limbo, between life and death, too terrified to live, too cowardly to die. I know what you're thinking. They deserve every second of this exquisite hell. You're absolutely, divinely correct. But that brings us to the final, most sacred truth. This isn't merely about what happens to predators in prison. This is understanding that some actions create consequences so total, so inescapable, so absolutely divine, that they don't just destroy your victims, they obliterate your entire existence from the book of life itself. Every single day, some twisted soul makes the choice that leads to this exact curriculum. They gaze upon innocence, pure, trusting, beautiful innocence that still believes in goodness, and decide they're perverted. They convince themselves they're too intelligent to get caught, that consequences won't be that severe. But now you know the real divine mathematics. Getting caught doesn't mean prison time and rehabilitation. It means becoming prey for the most violent professors alive. It means every breath is borrowed terror. It means choosing between madness in isolation or martyrdom in population. The lesson isn't about prison. It's understanding that some lines, once crossed, lead straight to hell's own classroom. If you're harboring thoughts about harming children, understand this with absolute, crystal clarity. What I've described isn't possibility, it's mathematical certainty. Every child destroyer who gets caught enrolls in this exact curriculum.
$20 so old boy, if you got 300, bro. And you ain't trying to make no effort to pay me nothing? Fuck you.